So there was a question that was asked earlier, and I want to just touch on this. So Carlos Garcia earlier, when you were looking at the videos, had asked if we could point out one strength and one weakness of this game at this current point in time, what is it and why do you think that is? So that's a very good question. So I think it's hard for me to boil it down to a single strength and a single weakness. But if you ask my honest opinion, I think the game has a lot of positive things to offer. Graphically, I know there's crazy, hyper realistic, ultra Unreal Engine 5 HD graphics out there, but I really like the graphics, specifically the art direction, the art style of the game. I think it's very cute, it's very appealing, it's very cozy. I think, and I don't know if you guys agree, I think this is probably the coziest mobile game I've ever played. I don't know how you guys feel in chat, but I think this is, forget all the other metrics. I personally think this is actually the coziest mobile game I've ever played, for sure, no question. Like, it's super cozy. And the other thing I really like about the game is the way it's structured. I really feel it's such a well designed balance of idle versus not idle. It's an idle game, yes. You have passive resource generation. There is a lot of auto elements, but at the same time, there is hard content. There's leaderboard pushing. There's 4-man dungeons. There's raids. There's 6-player raids. There's a lot of positives there, and all the great updates making you, yeah, Fluxy, I agree with you. All the great updates make me want to play it more. I feel the same way. Ragnarok type of graphics, but it's better. Yeah, no, I agree. And as well, like, this is an MMORPG for adults. You know what I mean? It's gonna sound weird, but like, it respects your time. If you think about what's involved, if you said to yourself right now, I'm gonna go play World of Warcraft, or I'm gonna go play Guild Wars 2, or I'm gonna go play any mainstream large-scale MMORPG, you're gonna be in for 12 to 14 to 16 hours a day just to farm the materials you need to go raiding. I mean, it is a full-time job at a certain point. But here in Muffin, it's just the perfect balance. It's the perfect balance of time spent versus experience received in return. In an idle game, you connect with other people in every action you take, and in a world where MMORPGs these days are losing that connection with others that made the whole MMORPG genre, Muffin really helps you connect with people through every content in the game. So that's something that's really, yeah, and it's compared to a lot of mobile games, this is actually quite a free-to-play friendly game. And the way that the progression is structured, you're not ever being hard locked out of content. And the only thing you're really missing as a free-to-play player at the end of the run is sometimes a few cosmetics. But is that really the end of the world if you miss a few cosmetics? I don't think so. And you'll eventually be able to clear the same content as the quote-unquote whales and giga whales and krakens or whatever else. But there you have it. Now, I could probably talk a lot more about this, but if you want to ask me about some cons, there's not many. I'll be honest with you. There's not many cons in comparison to the positives of this game. But some cons would be developer communication needs improvement, and it especially needs improvement because of the type of game this is. One of the main considerations of this being a mobile game is that if you're a free-to-play player especially, your progression is going to be your most optimal progression is going to involve saving up resources and hoarding resources in some capacity. But as it stands, with the lack of communication, you sometimes don't know how long you have to save resources for, which resources you should be saving, what upcoming events or content will you need to save those resources for, etc. So if we had better communication from the developers, some sort of interim roadmap of some kind, not a long-term roadmap like give us everything that's coming out in the next 3 months, but if we could have like a week notice on content that's coming out, just so especially free-to-play players would know how to spend and save resources appropriately. But I have to say, despite me saying that, they have actually been improving and trying to improve even more on the communication aspect, as we've recently seen from them announcing the upcoming New Year's events and the upcoming cross-server matchmaking as well. So there's a lot of positives there. They're turning the negatives into positives. So honestly, and again, the only other con I can think of maybe is a slight lack of tanks and healers compared to DPS, but I think that is typical of any MMORPG. What do you guys think? Let me ask chat. Chat, what do you think? What do you think about the game? Do you see yourself playing it for 2025? Do you think this is your 2025 game? I want to see what you guys think. Craig says you're a long-term player. IP says, I hope the devs don't put stats on outfits. No, they don't have any stats on outfits, for sure. Wise Guy says, I'll be here for the long term. Yes, so far so good. Strong contender long term. Nice. Yes, if they don't screw it up. Well said, Blazwak. No, but I mean, the one nice thing about having the other versions of the game is we have a pretty long periscope into the future to see what the devs are cooking up, and they are cooking well, I assure you. I'll play this game until all my friends are gone. I'll love to play this game long term, long term, long term, long term. So it seems like the vast majority of people are. Yeah, let's get a vote in. Let's get a vote in. I want to see this vote filled up here. Loving this game. Vincent says, loving this game so far since it's so free to play friendly and so many updates. I agree. Fluxy says the game has so much new stuff. There's always something to do and it's hard to ever feel stuck. Yeah, I agree. That's one thing. I think the one thing that blew my mind for me personally, when I first started the game, I felt that I could legitimately play for over 12 hours a day and not run out of content. Now, it's not like you have to play for that length of time, and you're not going to be worse off for doing so, for not doing so. But it's just the fact that there's so much you can do. And what I like, I don't know if you guys will agree with this, but I genuinely feel like the game actually encourages you to do content because it's fun, and not because you feel FOMO'd if you don't do it. Do you know what I mean? Do you know how many games make you do content because you feel FOMO'd if you don't do it? But I actually have never felt that with the game. I actually find that I'm doing the content because I find it fun and enjoyable, rather than I'm thinking to myself, oh my god, I'm totally messed up if I don't do this. Do you know what I'm trying to say by that? It actually is a different type of feeling. I don't have that sort of stress feeling at all with this game. Blazwak says, I've seen Western releases get different treatment, so I'm always ready for disappointment. Yeah, I agree with you, but it seems like it's been pretty good here. I don't see that issue at all. IP says the game is big and deserves to be noticed by a lot of YouTubers and other gamers out there. I agree. I completely agree with you. Fluxy says I agree. Great. Yeah, a lot of games can't do what Muffin does. I completely agree with you. Game respects the amount of spare time you have as an older person. I think that's a very important consideration for sure. Zell says the biggest thing I love about the game is trial gameplay. Yeah, I completely agree with you. The trials are sick. They're really sick, and especially Echoes of War is next level. I mean, the 6-player raids in a mobile game, 6-player raids in a mobile MMORPG. Woo, sign me up.